So you're drawing with the sticks, or you?
Yeah, I'm drawing with sticks. I'm thinking about using unconventional materials. So instead of a pencil on a page, I'm thinking about using these bamboo sticks as, I should have brought my rake, because I like to use the rake too.
Do you consider your work political?
Well, when I actually make it often during the day, each day, I don't set out to make it political, but I've been thinking very much about how whatever I make, whatever each person makes, is always a political act, right? This is something that's not new. But I'm bringing that up to be suspicious of myself, to think about how whatever I make actually has a look that then carries forth a message, right? And there are always ethics within that look and that message. And so in that sense, what I decide to actually show or not show is really, really important. But also, even before I show it or not show it, what I'm actually making, the ethics of what I'm actually thinking about and making. While I still draw a lot on the page in very traditional ways, I'm interested in how we can expand some sort of ideas of what drawing is about. And thinking about Robert Smithson bringing the work outside of the gallery or outside of the white cube or architecture. And well, I have 2 or 3 different bodies of work that are kind of coinciding and going along at once. And when I'm here at home, I try to do this other type of drawing when the day is nice or when it's unusual. So in a way, the drawings are time specific, they're ephemeral, they come and go, and it's a way for me to give up drawing so that it's not just a product in the end. So it's a questioning of the commodification, I guess. Part of this is questioning drawing's base, but also the tools, but also I'm interested in enacting drawing, making a drawing a movement. I see drawings all around me, like when it rains or when the leaves fall, I see the lines of movement. And so I'm thinking very much about lines, how when you start a line here and it moves, it includes light and motion. I'm expanding the definition of drawing and all that it might include. And I like it because it can be a question. So I'm interested more in where the drawing might go than where it came from. That's a whole set of drawings. It's just a small section of a whole set of drawings where I was scoring and folding the page and basically selected 2 actions that were process-oriented to score and fold. And I've been doing that for over 2 years now. And I've been adhering to those 2 actions as much as possible just to see where they go. A group of drawings, I forget how many are in there, are very much just an exploration of what happens when you shift the decision-making regarding scoring and folding very slightly. So if you shift the ruler just slightly at an angle, or if you put the weight of the pencil heavier. So they're very process-oriented, and they're a kind of investigation of a kind of systematic decision to just do scoring and folding. And it made me aware of how the choice and the very slightest alteration of our own decision-making about something, even when it's the same thing over and over, can cause radically different images or different results. And so our own thinking is part of the toolbox that we have, for making drawings. Maybe I could start to actually make a drawing with these. This is very direct and deliberate, right? It's giving you the direction going down into space. I've been thinking a lot about choreographic space, choreographic drawings, and the drawings that a lot of these dancers make on the page for their dancers, for their troupe, are interesting to me as notations. So that also resides in my mind when I'm out here doing these things. But I'm not really a performer, and I don't want to dance. I think of them as enacted drawings, and I insist upon them that way. But I also know that once you get to this stage, it becomes something else.
Actually thinking that there will be somebody observing you doing these movements,
Right.
but you kind of positioning yourself at that place and how it looks to the camera, which is, in your case, the observer for now.
Yes, for now, right. And but that sort of self-conscious enactment is something that interests me less than the actual investigation of what you could actually do with these things. Yeah, I think that my sense of touch is really consistent, and I'm trying to not negate that. I'm interested in light, in a kind of a light touch. And I am interested, I've been thinking a lot about repetition and why women tend to have high tolerance for repetition. And, are we trained to be that way, or are we, this kind of ability to continue doing the same thing over and over. And that's part of my aesthetic. I'm not doing it because I need to. It's more like I'm interested in. I'm investigating that too.
Do you feel like it's very feminine way of working, repetition, or is it something that is just universal?
I think it's probably feminine, unfortunately. I mean, it's a critique.
Why you say unfortunately?
Well, because it does get boring,
To you?
To me, as I'm making it. But I've made a decision to carry through.
Do you think it's anti-feminist if it's...
Oh, no.
To say that it's feminine and it's boring?
Right, no, that's a big difference, no. What we're doing out here today as enactments that I make, and in a way it's like practicing seeing things and enacting with objects and in spaces. And actually, there are other times where it's very deliberate and I'm more aware of the audience or as a kind of viewer of it. I mean, obviously, if I'm out here by myself, no one's going to see it, but it's still enacted. It's like a tree falls in a forest kind of thing, right? Is that art or not? It probably is just a tree falling in the forest, but, and it might just be me out here. But again, I guess I was thinking about Yvonne Rainer's Trio A, where she's practicing these moves that are not the moves that she learned, but she's trying to unlearn the moves that she can then open up a kind of space for a new movement of her body. Well, I'm trying that, I guess, with these drawings. I'm trying to open up all of the things that I learned in terms of drawing for myself as a maker, to see, well, what have I not considered? And I guess I'm underlying a lot of myself and who I am is a suspicion of my own self and all of the things that I've learned, including the assumptions about art. The flexibility of having the work in a lot of different places is a strategy.
But don't you think
it's
you
not
have
a weakness,
to,
it's a strategy.
You have to go into gender, Renee. And
I know I have to go into gender. It's a feminine strategy of flexibility.
It's very
and it's deliberate. What I'm saying is I'm finally having the words to say that it's deliberate.
And you have to claim it. I think we've been for too long have been adapting to. I know, which we're sidetracking as like these feminist activists.
But no, I mean it's very important. That's partly why I wanted to show this.
Absolutely, and I feel like that's sensitivity to not just one thing, and diversity, and embracing the whole without rigid constraints. That's a female space, and I think we have to claim it as artists.
What I realize now is that none of us are pure in any way, shape, or form. And actually, we like to make objects. I love to make objects, I'm not going to apologize. And the thing is those objects then always have the potential, apart from us as individuals, no matter how process-oriented we might be in our practice, they become an object that could be sold. Like the early conceptual artists were all anti-commodity, right? And now they're just selling all of the little bits of, documentation that were original as high art, So, I mean, it's insidious, the sort of marketing of product. So it's not like we can ever get away from it, I feel like. It's not going to go away. So what I've been trying to do is just focus on the process. And when the work is done, when the object is done, I can flat file it and just try to keep the question going and not focus so much on whether the object is good enough or not for someone else.